everyone out there in the land of YouTube. This is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. As promised, I'm coming to you from an outdoor location and just giving you a little bit of a soundscape sensation. I love the sound of the waves on the rocks. Anyhow, so in true Murphy's Law fashion, I got myself all packed up and I came out here and I looked in my bag and I didn't pack my tarot cards. So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to keep my shades on. It's pretty glary. I don't need cards. I just use them because they're beautiful and they're like little works of art, and they kind of trigger me to say certain things when I see a certain thing in the card, but I can read nature just as well. Some wildflowers there. Today is August 3rd, 2023, and at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the former guy gets indicted again. This is a third or fourth indictment. I think it's just kind of laughable in a sad way that it's hard to keep track of how many crimes against the United States of America he has committed. My sense about him today is that he hasn't slept at all. And also my sense about him today, about the Donald, is that he's looking for somebody to blame. And I know you could say that about him, like that's just his nature, but I just mean right now. I feel like he's on this quest to find out who he can blame for what he's going through right now with these indictments and, you know, having to show up for this federal indictment in court today. And the judge, let me just tune into her. I didn't write down her name, but I'm sure it will become very familiar when a few days go by. I get a no nonsense vibe from her. I get no gray area. The law is the law, and she's going to enforce the law and stand by our Constitution. I don't see her making any compromises. She's another one of these people like Jack Smith, who does her job and recognizes the risks of doing the job, and she's just going to do her job anyway. This is the energy of like our revolutionary soldiers. That's what it's like. Like, we have to be that brave. We have to be that courageous and that upright and full of ethics and integrity. So I sense that some of the judiciary, some of the judges out there, a lot of them, and Joe Biden has appointed a lot more, they do what needs to be done, and that's their top and bottom line. They don't waver from that at all. Let me show you this boat that's going out. See, you get little, instead of commercial breaks, you get little boat breaks. And scenery breaks. There's a couple of teenagers over there on the rocks. That's what we used to do when I was a teenager. They're all self-conscious. Okay. I won't do that. So the guy just saying full extent of the law. That's the phrase that's coming to my mind. Punishable to the full extent of the law. So I really think this is it for Trump in terms of like the big enchilada. I have seen people on Fox using arguments that Jack Smith in the indictment, in the 45-page indictment, which I will confess I haven't read it yet, but I will read it today. This is the one, I just get that this is the nail in the coffin. He incited a murderous riot attack on our democracy, on our democratic form of government, and didn't just like pull a hissy fit. Well, he did, but he didn't just do that. He actually took action, and then didn't take action when they were basically on a quest to murder people, and some did die. He did nothing. That makes him an instigator and complicit in the lives lost, especially, and the trauma that happened for so many people. So there's that. And then you kind of look at what they're saying on Fox, and they're trying to use the First Amendment freedom of speech, right to say what you want to say, as a defense. But Jack Smith, because he's so smart, started off the indictment with, you know, you can say whatever you want. It's when you take action, I'm paraphrasing, it's when you take action to create real damage, then that's when it's a problem. So what Fox is saying, if you're all about Fox, if anybody's all about Fox, I know nobody that watches me is, unless they're trolling me, then you're basically saying, and if you fly the Trump flag, you're basically saying, I'm for authoritarianism and I'm for fascism, and I'm okay with that, and that's the kind of life that I want. I'm done with freedom. I'm done with having personal rights. And that's really what people are saying. And I've seen some of the cult members being interviewed. Let me fix this. I've seen the cult members being interviewed, and they really don't know what they're asking for. So it's up to us to save the country in terms of save our form of government, save our democracy. So we are, and we will. And I just want to say, after the energy of that supermoon on August 1st, that full moon, supermoon, a lot of people, and I always notice it driving. I notice the collective consciousness, what's in the collective, just on my short drive from where I live to where I work. And there's a real, like, angst out there. A real, like, people have something, you know, it's like having somebody under your skin kind of feeling. And just agitation. There's a lot of agitation. After the fallout of the full moon, I feel like things are sort of like the dust is settling today. And things feel a little bit less extremely intense. Just a little bit. There is a feeling of we're on our way, we're like at the bottom. Well, let me put it this way. It's like we climbed the mountain, you know, and we climbed it and climbed it and climbed it, and we're at the top, and we're feeling like, oh, that was really tough. But now we can rest a little bit. Not in terms of, you know, not doing the work to save our democracy, but we can kind of take an exhale, like, we got through some stuff. We got through some hard stuff. We truly did. And I feel a level of hope that I haven't felt in a very long time. This is what I wanted when January 6th happened. I wanted it immediately. I wanted our law enforcement, our legal system, our judicial system to say, whoa, that's a bridge too far, people. I'm just watching the boats come in. You know, we wanted that, and we had to wait 2.5 years for something that looks like justice, something that nips at the heels of Donald Trump and says he could be rendered unable and unqualified to run for office. That can happen, that could happen, and without my tools, I won't show you with the pendulum or the cards, but I always am just coming from my clairvoyant impression anyway. It's too nice out here to go back and get my cards. I do feel like we have reason to believe that our democracy is going to withstand this. And I feel like there are enough pretty new democracy supporting organizations now. There were a lot already, but there's exponentially more now. That includes the YouTube channels that support democracy. So I do feel that we've kind of got a grip now. We have a grip. We've gotten a grip. We're gonna hold on. We're gonna keep working. But I feel like this is kind of a battle. It's a battle of words. It's a battle of sentiments. And it's a battle against fascism. And it's like Jack Smith, I've told you, I feel like he was George Washington. This judge today in Washington, D.C., I'll write down her name so I remember it. You don't have to tell it to me. I'll know it within an hour. This judge today is like a commander for a troop, as is Jack Smith, like George Washington led the troops. We never should have won the Revolutionary War. As I sit here in an area where it was, some of the battles were fought. Let's think about that. Let's think about democracy being stronger after all this. Being stronger. I'm not afraid of violence today. I do feel like the shiny object is not so shiny anymore. I do see that people are starting to ask, what is this indictment against Trump? There's not one of us. Well, that might be an extreme way of putting it. But there's not many people in the United States that missed what happened on January 6th, even if you tried not to look. Because it was on TV, it was on cable news, it was on the internet, it was everywhere for a very long time and still is. So I do think that we're going to make it. I want to give you hope today because I'm not just blowing smoke, that's what I feel. That I think we're going to make it. I feel it strongly. So join me in holding a vision for that. And I think I'm going to take a little walk with you because I want to show you around, and maybe I forgot my cards for a reason. Maybe I'll come back with another video a little bit later, but I'll definitely be back tomorrow for the Psychic News Network. But that's what I have for you today. I feel like we're in it to win it as a nation, and we will win it. We've done it before, we can do it again. Okay, let me pack us up. I'll turn you to the ocean while I'm getting my bag. And this is called Stage Fort Park. See, it's even called a fort. And it was called Beauport, which means beautiful port, by somebody named Champlain, who discovered this area. They also called it, the Native Americans called it Traga Bigzanda. Say that 3 times fast. Traga Bigzanda, which translates into this place here is dangerous in its beauty because it's so beautiful you may never leave. Yep. Here comes, it looks like a lobster boat. Coming pretty close. I'll just let you watch the ocean for a sec, or 2, or 3. Yeah, that's a lobster boat. Coming in. I don't see a lot of lobster buoys, but there's a few out there. Oh, there's a couple. I think that one's just going fishing for sport, but that's definitely a lobster boat there in front of me. Once again, it's hard for me to see what you can see. It's a lot smaller in your view. Way off in the distance is the breakwater, which keeps the waves in check, intact. And I'm looking at the blue waves, everybody. In the true spirit of democracy, I'm looking at the blue waves. So I want everyone not to worry. And I was reflecting today on how grateful I am that democracy is working, that our judicial system is working, that the insurrectionists that are in our government are going to be held accountable, and don't you let them fool you. They're shaking in their boots, in their sneakers, whatever they're wearing. They really are. It's not good for them. And I have no sympathy. Zero. Even if they were sorry, I still wouldn't have any sympathy. They should have known better than to be traitors to their own country. I mean, all together, we're supposed to be proud and stand strong for democracy. We're supposed to be like, it's so great that we live in America, and it's so wonderful that we can do whatever we want to do, within reason. Donald Trump even has a right to lie as much as he wants because of the First Amendment. So that's why Jack Smith put that at the beginning of the indictment, was like, he can say whatever he wants. That's not what he's being indicted for. He's being indicted for inciting a violent attack on our nation, and it's against the 14th Amendment for him to hold office again. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do actually feel like that's going to be enforced. That's going to be duly noted. And I actually don't see him continuing on the campaign trail. I don't. This is crazy. So more about that later. I'll be back. And one more thing is, I was feeling an immense sense of gratitude that I started the organization grassrootsofdemocracy.com, and that we've been meeting 2 to 3 times a week, 3 times if you include our guided meditation evening on Tuesdays. I couldn't do that in an authoritarian country. God, me, a woman? No way. So I want to speak to that and say, we have a right to stand up for our democracy. In other nations, that would not be the case. In authoritarian nations, we wouldn't have the freedom to start anything. We'd be lucky to stay alive and to be able to express ourselves at all. Look what's happening in Iran with the women in Iran. Look at what's happening in Niger and Africa right now. I mean, Afghanistan. It's like, so for me, I feel like it's part of my civic duty, and it's also part of my, and you may feel this way too, I'm sure you do, my dedication and my commitment to grassroots of democracy is because I can. I feel like it's my responsibility and my duty to use this freedom that we have. And it's my responsibility and my duty to show you more of the ocean. So we're going to go for a little walk just for a few minutes, and then I'm going to say bye for now. But go to grassrootsofdemocracy.com if you haven't already. We do have a meeting tonight. It's Thursday. It's August 3rd. Right? Do I have that right? It's today the 4th. I actually don't know. Does it even matter anymore? Okay, up I go, and grabbing my water, going up the path. Oh, there's a bunch of people here. I might wait a sec. I don't want to be in their way. Nice cool breeze. It's only like 72, 73 degrees right now. Really nice. All right, let's take a walk. I'm going to take you to the beach. Pretty dog.
Thank you.
So here we are, walking down to, this is called Cressy's Beach. It was named Cressy's Beach because it looks like a half moon. There's actually a beach called half moon and a beach called Cressy's, and this is Cressy's beach. See, it's shaped just like a half moon. And there's a picnic table here where I can hang out. And I apologize, it's really hard for me to see what you can see. Okay, this is a good view. Across the street there is a little takeout. Might go grab some lunch there. So this is it. It's called Stage Fort Park. That's a good view. And before we sign off today, I'm going to show you this great big rock. It's called Tablet Rock. And there's some history there. And while I'm thinking about it, if you join my YouTube channel, please join and please subscribe to my channel at least. Joining is like it's like a monthly subscription starting at $7.99 a month, but you do get some great perks. The higher level, called the World, you'll see on my channel here. If you join at the World level, you get one video a month that has to do with the history of this area of the Northeast. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Can't believe I forgot my cards. I guess it was just meant to be to do something a little different. Okay, so we'll go over here to Tablet Rock. There's a baseball field here. Looks like they're having some kind of a training. I want to call it a rehearsal. That's not what you call baseball practice. Baseball practice. All right, I'll take you over to Tablet Rock. There's a gazebo up there. If you ever come to Cape Ann, Mass, this is where we are. Some beautiful homes over there, right at the ocean's edge. Off in the distance, I don't know if you can see it from here, but Hammond Castle is across the harbor there. It's one of my favorite spots, as you know if you've been following me. I've mentioned it really often. It's John Hayes Hammond was an inventor, and he was a big fan of Nikola Tesla. I don't know if they ever met, but he lived at the same time. And I think Edison was a bit before John Hammond. So he was an eccentric person, and he was a sailor, and he sailed the world. And in the castle are artifacts and furniture that he had shipped over from Europe, all in medieval style. A lot of Catholic kind of relics and stuff. Anyway, so I'll show you Tablet Rock, and then I'm going to walk back. And it's been so nice to be with you. I'll read to you what it says. We are celebrating the 400th year anniversary of the settlement of Gloucester, Massachusetts. So I don't know what you can see, if you can see it very well, but you probably can't see it, so I'll read it. On this site in 1623, bring it down so you can hear me. A company of fishermen and farmers from Dorchester, England, under the direction of Reverend John White, founded the Massachusetts Bay Colony. From that time, the fisheries, the oldest industry in the Commonwealth, have been uninterruptedly pursued from this port. Here in 1625, Governor Roger Conant, by wise diplomacy, averted bloodshed between contending factions, one led by Miles Standish of Plymouth, the other by Captain Hughes, a notable exemption of arbitration in the beginnings of New England, placed by the citizens of Gloucester in 1907. I don't know how much of that you could see because I'm blinded by the sun, but anyway, I'm walking back. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch up with you later. All right, namaste. Take care.